I'm going to make this short and right to the point, folks. I really wasn't wanting to make a video today. I was, at least not yet. We're going to need a couple of days here to be able to finalize what it is that I think is going to happen. And I've gone over that in many videos in the past. And that is just in short. Paul says that when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction. The sudden destruction is an action of God as he clears the land out surrounding Israel that they can build a temple. They can get on with that 7-year tribulation period. When they say peace and safety is what Paul had said. And so I'm believing that peace and safety would come about the time that the deal for the hostages, a prisoner swap with Hamas, that Israel then would say that peace and safety that's in Scripture leading us to understand then the sudden destruction, but yet that sudden destruction just prior to that, the church would be removed or the rapture would happen. That's simple. So all these years of studying this, I come down to a point that drawing to a conclusion, but we couldn't have drawn to that conclusion unless we had gotten the information that led us to believe where we are today. What I'm saying is that we're given a direction by God by studying Scripture as to where he's headed and what he's going to do. And then he also says the purpose. Okay, the purpose we know, for God to deal with his rebellious children in Israel, and then start the tribulation, which is the finishing of what it is that Daniel spoke about in Daniel 9:24 through 27. It is to be completed, the punishment. At the end of the tribulation period, then that's when Jesus returns. And he sets up the kingdom. And he reigns for 1,000 years. Now, that's pretty much Scripture and letting us know. But we've come down to a pinpointed time to where it is possible that Israel could give in to a deal with Hamas in the Gaza Strip that then would stop all the other warring proxies of Iran. They would say there's no reason for us to go on. Hamas would be then in some sort of an agreement. So that again, coming back down to the ceasefire, which would be a hostage for prisoner swap. All right, in the news today, let me just read it real quickly. It's real short, folks. It says right here, hostage negotiations to be nearing a climax over the weekend. That's this weekend. And Netanyahu dispatching Israel's most senior negotiators who have happened to lead the country's security agencies, those others that will be involved in this deal, back to Doha to try to finalize an agreement. Doha, that's Qatar. If they don't succeed, he may well choose to turn Trump's threat into action. As we know, Trump said, if the hostages are not released by the time he takes office, which is 8 days away, that there would be, in his words, hell to pay. And Israelis in Gaza may pay the price. So what I did was, is I was hoping that by this weekend they would have some sort of a understanding. Either they're going to have a ceasefire and start a timing for Israel's military to stand down, Hamas to prepare the hostages, and then the truce would begin. And that's when I'm thinking that peace and safety would be said. You can't count on that, not 100%. That's just what I had been understanding, and now I'm trying to explain to you. But my idea is about ready to come to my understanding given to me, Paul, when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction. That's about ready to be completed if this negotiations go through. The negotiations, I believe, are going to be something like what happened with Hezbollah. It's not over with Hezbollah. Hezbollah has just agreed, those in Lebanon, to be backed away from Israel. That allows Israel to feel that it is secure up in the northern part of Israel, southern part of Lebanon, part of Syria. Then I figured, okay, the Houthis were involved, those in Yemen, which are still firing rockets and missiles, drones. Well, Israel's taken care of that in the fact that they have shown now that they can reach the Houthis. And it's a good 1,200 miles away. It takes their jets refueling in the air to be able to make it there and back again. Pretty big task. But it seems that, okay, they would somewhat have the Houthis in control at this point also. Again, back to Hezbollah. The agreement was with Israel that Hezbollah, you come back again into that territory to where you become a threat to us, we have the right to strike you. Well, if Israel should make something like that with Hamas in the Gaza Strip, it would then make sense. That, you see, there's always a hope that Hezbollah can rebuild. If there's a hope that Hamas can rebuild, they may very well go for this ceasefire, this swap again, prisoner for hostages. If that's the case, then, and this is a big if, would then Israel be saying, we're going to have peace within our land and we'll feel that we're going to be safe? They're going to be at a point to where I think there is no reason for the Houthis to fire at them anymore. There's no reason for Hezbollah. Iran, something to worry about yet in the future. And then you have Syria, which is taken over by what they call HTS, which is another group that said that they're willing to have peace with Israel. That's their words about 2 weeks ago. That's what they said. We're not interested in warring with Israel. Israel still has one problem, and that is Hezbollah type within Judea and Samaria. We know it as the West Bank. That's still a problem. But it's not a big one. I guess what I'm trying to say here is that until we find out whether the hostage deal is going to swap for prisoners is going to happen, there isn't much really to report. And I just explained the situation within Israel right now. So what is going to really happen next is going to be determined by this deal, if it goes through. And again, my understanding is that what it has to do with is some sort of an agreement. It's like an off-ramp for Hamas. Hamas would be willing to give up those hostages if they believe they might have a chance of rebuilding, very much like Hezbollah in Lebanon. If they believe they have that chance, and then what it said here in the news, let me go back over that again. It says right here, Netanyahu dispatching Israel's most senior negotiators, who also happen to lead the country's security agencies. That would involve America, Egypt, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. So they're all involved in this because it's the way it's going to unfold. So, but there isn't an end yet until these negotiations are said to be ready to take place. They're going to take place. Everything is a big if, folks. And it's just my understanding. I gave it to you. And the whole time I've used Scripture. And hopefully that made it clear also to you. Do I know that this is going to be the time that Paul said the Israeli people would be saying peace and safety? And then the time of the sudden destruction? God steps in to clear the land for Israel. And then just prior to that, there would be no need for the church to be here, so that would be the timing of the rapture. Is that? It's a possibility, as I understand Scripture. But you understand it's not over with. Well, even if they have the deal, the hostage deal, what about those in West Bank? Hezbollah is rebuilding. Well, Hamas in Gaza Strip, they're not going to do anything unless they know that they can have some sort of a reprieve that allows them to secretly hide again. They seem to be really quite good at doing. Building up their ammunition again, their ability to be able to make missiles, along in coordination with Hezbollah. It's already obviously being seen Hezbollah is attempting to try to rebuild. They've even come out and said it. So can we really trust HTS in Syria? That they're sworn enemies of Israel. They're the terrorist type, the Al-Qaeda, the ISIS type. That's who they are. Believe me, they have no desire to get along with Israel. As they attempt to build in Syria, HTS, then they would say that, but can we take their word for it? So what's the whole point out of all of this? Is even if at a given time Israel would be saying peace and safety, us, through the Bible, Scripture, what's happening in the news, we can see what's going on. It's not over with. But would it just be that time when Israel believes that they're going to be dwelling safely, that they'll be at peace? If that's the case, then there we have the timing of the rapture. It should be simple for you to understand, especially if you've been keeping up with this channel. And if you're new here, I'm sorry, this probably won't make much sense to you. So I said I didn't want to make this video because I was really waiting to see if these negotiations go through. Will they go through? I have no idea. None. Right now, I'd probably say you have a 60% chance that they would. It's a large percentage that it may not happen yet. And we may have to wait until President Trump takes control to see what he means by all hell will break loose if the hostages aren't released by the time he takes office. We really don't even know what that means. He's not saying, idle threat. I don't know. I really don't, but no one knows. All right, so folks, give me a couple more days. As I see this unfold, I'll make maybe little short videos and pop them up here as I see things begin to happen. Or not. Don't know. And I have said this before, in all honesty, I don't know is an answer if it's truthful. And I'm saying, what's going to happen next? I don't know. And that's why I didn't want to make this video. I hope that was helpful to you. We're going to keep on going. We're going to keep on studying. Something else pops into my mind. All of a sudden I get an alert on the news or something that's meaningful. Just keep an eye on me here on this channel and then my YouTube channel also. Because I always put what I do here in there, plus a little extra every now and then. Okay, until something happens, which I think will be sooner than later, and don't be disappointed if this hostage swap for prisoners negotiations should fail. They very well could. Till the next video.